Latest, semiconductor equipment headmaker to stop sales and service to China today, affected by the new U.S. regulations. The U.S. chip equipment manufacturer KLA Corporation stopped providing sales and services to corporate customers in mainland China from today. Some industry insiders believe that the U.S. equipment manufacturers will not really completely abandon the Chinese market. There are also media analysis that the next will be more and more manufacturers to implement or strengthen sanctions against China, will bring substantial impact on China's semiconductor industry. October the 12th, according to the latest news from Reuters, the world's fifth largest semiconductor equipment supplier KLA, from Wednesday, 12, to stop providing sales and services to corporate customers in mainland China, in order to comply with the recent regulations of the US said government. According to the news, KLA employees in China received an email from the head office's legal department, saying that from Tuesday night 23:59 local time, i.e., Beijing time on the 12th, the company will stop selling and servicing 128-layer and above NAND chips, 18 nanometers and below, and advanced logic chips to mainland China's advanced chip factories. DRAM chips and advanced logic chip technology. The source added that Corex will also stop supplying to Chinese chip factories owned by Intel and SK Hynix, the world's second largest memory chip maker. In response, SK Hynix reiterated its position that it will seek equipment licenses under new export control rules to continue operating its plants in China. Intel did not immediately respond to a request for comment. In fact, since the introduction of new U.S. chip and semiconductor regulations on China, several U.S. semiconductor equipment has begun to suspend sales and services to China. Personnel at an overseas chip equipment company revealed that all major suppliers to fabs are working around the clock to assess the long-term impact of the regulations. There are also industry sources said that memory chip makers YMTC and CXMT and a number of logic wafer fabs in the U.S. equipment manufacturers have begun to withdraw their resident staff, including the Panlin Group's resident staff has been evacuated on the 10th. The application of materials resident staff will also be the new ban effective day, 12, all evacuated. Publicly available information shows that KLA was founded in 1976 in California. Silicon Valley is a leading global supplier of semiconductor testing equipment. KLA announced financial results in 2021, the company about a quarter of revenue from customers in mainland China. China is its largest geographic market. After Corex announced the cessation of services to China, there are concerns that the U.S. equipment maker will abandon China. Some industry insiders believe that U.S. equipment makers will not really give up the Chinese market completely, because for the U.S. system equipment manufacturers, China has the world's largest market. In order to economic benefits, in addition to the new U.S. ban set by the Red Line, other negotiable and can apply for a license, they will actively apply. However, in response to the expansion of U.S. sanctions against China, there are also media analysis that there will be more and more manufacturers to implement or strengthen the sanctions against China, which will have a substantial impact on China's semiconductor industry. Semiconductor vein author Chen Hang pointed out in the analysis, the current round of control measures will have a substantial impact on China's relevant enterprises in chip supply, foundry, advanced process expansion, as well as technology acquisition. First, the supply of finished chips. Nvidia, Qualcomm, AMD's advanced process chips will continue to be restricted from export by the US due to their strategic application areas, which is the first means of each round of US blocking. Second, chip foundry restrictions refer to the 3 rounds of blockade on Huawei. The second is for TSMC and other US equipment under the control of foundry rights, due to the absence of domestic foundries, will affect the advanced process. Third, capacity expansion restrictions, in order to limit China's access to wafer foundry capacity, especially advanced processes. The United States will offer equipment killer, limiting AMAT, LAM, KLA exports, affecting part of the capacity to open. Han Xiaomin, general manager of Tibco Consulting, believes, from another perspective, the US export ban on the domestic chip industry is also an opportunity. Before, the lack of interaction between the upstream and downstream enterprises in the domestic chip industry chain, but in the future we will further increase domestic substitution efforts. Domestic industry chain enterprises should be based on the domestic market, and gradually establish a complete chip industry chain ecosystem to improve the industry's ability to resist risks, competitiveness and global influence. From the rejection of Chinese-made semiconductors to China's broken G, the United States continues to increase the semiconductor sanctions, will bring pain to China's semiconductor industry in a short period of time, but we believe that the opportunities and challenges coexist, and the opportunities outweigh the challenges. Gu Wenjun, chief analyst of Core Research, said that in the short term, the US hopes to make China decouple and break the chain in the high-precision part of the chip. In the medium and long term, the US hopes that it and its allies will no longer be overly dependent on China's market and will reduce production with China. In the medium and long term, the US hopes that it and its allies will no longer be overly dependent on China's market and reduce the production factors with China. From the perspective of this impact, China's storage industry will be hit hard, more than the foundry by the impact. The storage industry has only 0 or 1. It is not like chip foundry where there are mature processes to do after the advanced processes are limited. Because the storage is a standard product, in the market competition is the price per unit of storage capacity. Advanced technology manufacturing storage chip prices are lower, a generation of products behind the loss of competitiveness and market. So storage advanced process is limited, it is equivalent to the advanced process cannot be upgraded, but also cannot be expanded, and lost market. Especially our storage industry is still in its infancy, just stumbling toddler, was hit by the head. The survival and development of our storage enterprise is under enormous pressure. In a nutshell, any new growth in China's chips is unsettling to the US and is an object of attack. Within the next 3 years, our expansion and production continuity will be more challenged. On the other hand, in addition to equipment, an advanced process-related high-end chip talent is also a key issue. Because the US implemented a series of new regulations, the main attempt is to limit China's advanced process manufacturing capabilities.